The Bad Guys is hitting theaters in 2025, bringing us another action-packed and hilarious animation.
It's the Bad Guys!
But did you pay close attention to the Easter eggs and references hidden in the scenes of the latest trailers for this promising movie?
What was that?
I panicked, okay? I'm a panicker.
You heard it right. A Bad Guys short film is dropping this January alongside the premiere of Dogman. This is DreamWorks' first big release of the year. For those who don't know, the official release date for this short film is January 31st, 2025, while Bad Guys 2 is set to premiere on August 1st. The teaser kicks off with Mr. Wolf entering a dark room to speak with a woman who's probably the officer overseeing the ex-criminals' post-prison lives, to see if they're ready to be completely free. We'd call her a parole officer. And Mr. Wolf is completely covered in blue paint, with his clothes torn as if something terrible just went down. In the background of the room, you can see a clock that reads 2:12. Could this be a clue that Bad Guys 2 will have a runtime of 2 hours? We don't know yet, but you know what time it is, right? It's time to dive into our over 45 Easter eggs in the new Bad Guys 2 teaser, because another Cinewave is kicking off right now. Take a closer look at this scene. There are 4 chairs in the room, likely because the parole officer is ready to interview 4 people, Mr. Wolf's crew. The parole officer is holding a thick file containing the ex-criminals' records, and there's a big red stamp on the first page that says, "Denied." This means they're not being granted release from parole. Mr. Wolf mentions that he knows they're all 10 minutes late, meaning they were required to show up at the station by 2 p.m. This irritates the officer, who denies their release. Notice how every team member looks like a total mess? Scratches, dirt, paint, IV bags, and even a chicken in the mix. We'll find out how this chaos unfolded as the trailer progresses. Oh, and check this out. Snake's neck is tied in a knot. Something definitely went down. We jump to a junkyard scene where Mr. Crane is destroying Mr. Wolf's car. He probably racked up too many tickets and couldn't pay them. The car was seized and placed on top of the crane, but then an electric shock travels through it, causing the car to fall to the ground. We'll talk more about this later. In the next scene, they fall from the sky onto a motorcyclist because, apparently, they're running late and need a ride. In the background, you can spot them passing by a pet shop. Could this be where Mr. Wolf gets his hair cut? A little further along, they pass by a diner that might be the same one from the opening scene of the first movie. At some point, they're caught by a helicopter, and you don't even want to imagine how that happened. It's probably hilarious, but it's likely from this helicopter that they fell onto the motorcyclist. Notice how Mr. Wolf is holding on to Snake, who's holding on to Shark, who's holding on to Piranha, who's probably holding on to Tarantula. Poor little Tarantula, the smallest member of the crew, had to bear the weight of everyone else as they tried to climb into the helicopter. That's probably why they ended up falling from the sky. Back to the motorcycle, yet another accident happens, making the day even worse for the ex-thieves, and for the poor owner of the motorcycle. Rewinding a bit, we see Piranha plugging something in, which shocks Tarantula. Returning to the crane scene, you can see the same electricity traveling up the machine. Maybe that's what caused the car to fall from the top. Seriously though, would you rather lose a car or miss a video from the channel? Comment #car to let us know. In the next scene, they're running away from something, and Mr. Wolf jumps over a fence. You can see Snake leading the way. The look on Wolf's face shows he's scared. Could it be the police? They run into the back of a truck filled with chickens. Pay attention here because this truck contains an Easter egg we'll talk about shortly. Inside the truck, Snake spots the chickens and his eyes start to ripple as if he's hypnotized by the snack he's about to have. This is a nod to Kaa, the snake character from the Jungle Book in Disney's animation. Snake calls the chickens chicken nuggets, which is one of the most popular foods worldwide. Do you like chicken? We love it here, just not with feathers. Take a closer look. Snake has 2 scars on his nose, and Piranha is covered in tire marks all over his body. He probably got run over during all this chaos. Now for the Easter egg on the truck. Its license plate reads Bilby, which is a reference to a DreamWorks project that ultimately became a short film available on YouTube. Could this be a hint at a new movie in the works? We can see Snake with a massively bloated belly. He must have devoured all the chickens in that truck. Poor things. In the next scene, we see the truck driver freaking out about the accident, while a chicken clings to the side of the truck, desperately trying not to fall. Better this than becoming lunch, right? But that's how Snake ended up with his neck in a knot. It seems like their life on parole is just pure chaos. The trailer shows us that the good guys will, unfortunately, remain on parole, but it's not over yet, because there are references from the first main trailer that you also need to see. The main trailer starts with them frantically jumping off what looks like a space rocket platform. Could they be heading to the moon? The next scene opens with them in what appears to be a foreign country, most likely Egypt. Take a look at the pyramids in the background. Mr. Wolf approaches a building using a wingsuit parachute, showing off his incredible extreme maneuvering skills. Inside the building, which we now know is a museum, you can spot a painting that looks very similar to Pablo Picasso's famous Robe Bleue. It's worth a fortune, trust me. However, it appears to be a pig version of the painting, so that would make it a Pigasso. Sorry, we couldn't resist the cheesy pun. Inside the museum, they plan to steal a car. Above the doorway leading to the car, there's an image of a strong, bald man with a large mustache. Interestingly, he looks a lot like El Macho, the villain from Despicable Me 2. The car they're about to steal seems to be a nod to the classic 1967 Mustang GT, but if it's not and you're a car expert, let us know. On the steering wheel of the stolen car, you can see the letters BG, a clear reference to the film's original title, Bad Guys. If you want more references, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. The car chase scene jumps 5 years into the future, which is now how much time has passed since that heist. In other words, it's been 4 years since they were released at the end of the first movie, and now Mr. Wolf is driving a car that's falling apart. There's white smoke coming out of the engine and black smoke coming from the exhaust. This car definitely needs some serious repairs. The scene shifts to their current lives in freedom, where the police chief is still keeping an eye on the ex-criminal crew, but Shark gets nervous and pulls off a karate move on her, making the law enforcer pass out. Pretty sure that's still a crime. In the same scene on the left side, you can spot a blue and orange van parked nearby. It's going to show up again later. The trailer keeps jumping between the past and the future, and in one of the upcoming scenes, we see the crew pushing a car while a small corner store is visible in the background. There's even a sign saying they're hiring. Maybe they're looking for honest jobs. The scene cuts to the entrance of the same bank they robbed at the start of the first movie, but now Mr. Wolf is there for a job interview. The bank manager interviewing Mr. Wolf has a few plaques in the background showing he's been Employee of the Month 4 times in a row. And during the interview, he mentions that the ex-bad guy, now a good guy, robbed that very bank 3 times. The scene switches to a feline character who is the leader of the bad girls, the thieves who will be the villains in this new movie. In the next scene, we see her presenting some clips of the bad guy's past heists. How she got her hands on those recordings remains a mystery, but if you look closely at the projector, you'll notice the letters FLO. This could refer to a phrase hinting at a free animation tool. Maybe it's the animator's subtle nod to how the movie was created. It seems like the bad guys have kidnapped the former thieves, as they're shown tied up in the scene. The rocket station they plan to rob next is shown next. The platform has 01 and the word moon written on it, indicating that the equipment is being prepped for a lunar mission. The next scene reveals a neon sign reading Lords of Lucha, hinting at an action-packed sequence in a wrestling arena. Additionally, police officers are shown waiting for them there. Here's a fun Easter egg. In one scene, they're gathered in a room where there's a mug with the phrase "I see guilty people" written on it. This is a clear reference to the movie The Sixth Sense, where the main character famously says, "I see dead people." In a chase scene, the sausage van we spotted earlier is being pursued by luchador-style warriors. In another scene, the shark is disguised as a matchmaker, and there's a van nearby with the license plate LOV3 4EVA, which is a codified way of writing "Love Forever." Lastly, but definitely worth mentioning, the same van has the number 1-800-555-1099 written on it. This is a real reserve phone number used in the entertainment industry when they need to display fake company contact info. Wow, that was a ton of references. If you're still curious, we've got 2 more videos lined up for you to check out. See you in the next video. Until then, take care.